I'd have known that a little bit more clearly when I was earlier on in my career, it would have made some of the things easier in my life.
Hello everyone. Today we have Dr. Shannon Olsson with us. She is an associate professor at the Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in Bangalore. We welcome Dr. Shannon Olsson and we are really excited to know more about your research career and your journey.
Thank you for inviting me to be here. It's an honor to speak and it's an honor to be part of this project. It's a field based upon the concept that everything in the universe is made up of molecules, right? Everything is ultimately made up of chemistry. It's based on physics, but made up of chemistry. And so it is the means by which all life on the planet can actually interact through chemicals. You know, not all organisms have eyes, not all organisms have ears, but all organisms can use chemistry. And so that allows them to interact with each other, and it allows them to interact with the environment around them and other organisms in that environment. So, and I think that, I don't know, perhaps as quaint as it sounds, you know, it's a bit of a way of being able to have a conversation with the world around you, and that's a really profound concept. I mean, of course you can't have a conversation like I'm having a conversation with you, but we get insights on how organisms identify each other, how organisms identify what they want to eat or what they're afraid of or who they want to mate with. So just like we might have a conversation about what you want for dinner, we can find that out from an insect or a bird or through this knowledge, and I think that's a really amazing thing. I had to make a pheromone mimic. So a pheromone is a chemical that one organism uses to communicate with another organism. And I didn't know anything about pheromones. I had to read about it. Again, I had to look it up. And I had to make this pheromone mimic. And of all things, it was for a cockroach. And the reason was because the chemical was known, and of course I had to test it. So I had to actually get cockroaches, and I had to bring them into the lab, and I had to put my synthetic chemical that I'd created in a test tube, and I had to put it on a piece of paper, and then just see what happened. And the male cockroaches, which are the ones that detect this is a chemical that's produced by the female. So the male cockroaches could detect it. You could see their antenna move, and they ran up to the paper and they rubbed themselves against it and they laid on it, and you could really see that they were really interested in this paper. You know, as much as we don't like cockroaches, at the same time it was remarkable, right? So it had a profound effect on another living organism, and after that I was just hooked. I just loved this field. I thought this is the most amazing thing to do. So different besides personalities, they have different ways of working, they have different ways of synthesizing information, and you have to be respectful of that. It is incredibly hard. I can say without reservation that supervising and being a leader is the most difficult thing that I have ever done in my life. It's the most rewarding as well. Allowing the people in our groups, if we have a PhD student or postdocs, allowing them independence, allowing them the chance to supervise a project themselves. You know, a lot of students want to come for the summer and do a summer research project. Let your senior students, let your postdocs experience what it's like to supervise that student and work with them on the challenges, and you know, be there as a resource for them when they have questions about how that's done. Let your people write grants, learn how to write grant applications, and definitely let them write their own papers and learn how to communicate their ideas. I think actually giving independence to the people in your group is the only way, because that's the only way that they'll get any exposure to it. So I think this is really an essential thing to do. So it does make your job harder as a PI, right? Because you have to relinquish authority, right? You have to basically leave it up to them and say, okay, you know, I'm not gonna manage every moment. You're gonna have to write this paper on your own. But actually, I think that it's absolutely essential so that we can raise creative, independent scientists in the future, which, like I said, is our most important task as an academic. All of us at any level and in any profession, not just science, we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we are going to do to best contribute to the world around us? There's lots of ways I think that we can contribute. And I think that as a group of scientists, we have to stop thinking that everyone has to do everything all the time. I think that we have to more and more promote that people can contribute in different ways, and that everyone really has to look at their own interests and their own passions and their own abilities and find out what that is. It's a very unique place in India, but also a very unique place in the world in terms of its free thinking and free exploration and creative thinking and creative synthesis of ideas, which is very special. And it has very good resources. And on top of that, they took me to the Western Ghats for a little field trip. I had never been in a place with so much biodiversity. I really, I went light trapping one night. I've told this story many times, but it's true. One night we went light trapping, which is where you hang a white sheet up at night and you shine a bright light on it, and you just see what night creatures come to it, moths and I sat there and I watched this, hundreds of species of insects and little small mammals and all sorts of things came to that sheet. And I'd never seen so many animals in one place at one time in my entire life, because you just don't see that in northern New York where I grew up, or even in Germany. And I cried. I really cried. I had tears streaming down my face. It was so beautiful. And that's another reason why I'm here. I mean, India has such remarkable natural beauty, and it's also remarkably unstudied actually as well. And so I mean, one of my goals, I think, if I can say, is just to ignite that passion in people here. There is a lot of appreciation of the natural world in India, but that appreciation I don't feel has necessarily translated to the scientific study of it, okay? So everyone loves, people love nature here. That's not the problem, but the problem is that they haven't gone to this naturalist aspect of studying it and cataloging it and identifying who is where and what it is. And I think this is it's really needed in India. I think natural resources are essential to the future of the planet as a whole, and not just in India. So I hope that kind of experience that I had, I can share that with others and inspire others to do the same. So.
It is so true. I mean, there is just so much potential in India in terms of even in terms of the minds there. Like, I'm from India, and as soon as I finished my bachelor's and I went to Australia for my training, the way they approach science in these countries is just so different. The resources, the money that's put into just understanding life systems. I really like that your lab has all these new techniques being performed. It makes me very proud to know that scientists like you are actually there, and you can in some way provide a doorway for all the aspiring scientists in India to actually experience something that I had to go to Australia to experience, So in that way, thank you for actually creating that environment in India.
I only hope I can make a difference. That's why I'm here. I hope I can contribute. Lots of things that we can talk about with women in science, and I'm sure as you talk to other women, every woman has their own experience. But I think that one of the main things for me that became very apparent was that I thought that for many years that if I did well and worked hard and did great science and was a great supervisor and did everything that was asked of me
In the book.
that I would just get the respect, that I would just get treated respectfully. And I realized only after starting to achieve those things, right, where I started to be along far enough in my career to be a leader and to start having successes, and then seeing that actually it still didn't mean I got respected. And I realized that respect it can be earned, but it also needs to be demanded. And if you're not getting respect, you really have to stand up for yourself. If a colleague is treating you poorly, you can't remain silent and you can't remain silent when that colleague treats another person, male or female, it doesn't matter. Respect is something that everyone deserves, and you need to stand up for yourself and others. And if that person does not respect you, then you need to find people that do. I think it's that simple. And so long I've struggled with this, and I thought, oh, if only I do this, then they'll, not like me, but then they'll respect me. And I realized that it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you just have to say, no, you can't talk to me that way, or you can't treat me that way. And I think that's a very important message for young women to hear, because I think if I'd have known that a little bit more clearly when I was earlier on in my career, it would have made some of the things easier in my life. It would have made a lot of things that ended up being very frustrating, where I kind of wallowed or ground in a corner. That might have been a lot easier, and maybe I would have made some things happen faster in my life. And I would love to know that saying something like this, some young woman out there hears that and takes that advice and blasts off into the stratosphere. That would make me so happy.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for being here and talking to us.
Oh, absolutely! It's a great honor. I really appreciate this chance to talk to you, and I'm extremely flattered. So thank you so much for also asking me.